It's great to be back in the Exeter community after so many years. I'm actually sitting in my summer house, and to my right, I can see the North Atlantic Sea. And if the world was flat, about 4,000 kilometers from here, I would be able to see the coastline of Massachusetts and Boston, and even perhaps to Exeter. I still remember our 50th reunion. I hadn't been to Exeter since we all parted, having listened to Eisenhower. But I think our reunion 5 years ago was fantastic. I had been talking a lot about Exeter to my wife and to my children. And I had to bring my wife and one of my girls to Exeter 5 years ago to show them what a fantastic school I had attended. And I think they came back convinced and impressed by Exeter, perhaps even a better school than we went when we went there. I mentioned to Dan when he approached me about this new virtual reunion that we just had visits within the last year by two secretaries of state from the US, Mike Pompeo, and just a few days ago by the new Secretary of State, Antony Blinken. And Dan asked me whether I would say a few words about how I view these two state secretaries. I might add that although I haven't been a diplomat, I have been for more than 40 years working in the Danish government service. And since my time at Exeter, US politics has always been a passion for me. And I actually wrote my thesis on one of your iconic secretaries of state, Henry Kissinger. All major politicians visiting Denmark, foreign secretaries or president, are giving the same treatment, reflecting the fact that we really emphasize having and demonstrating good relations to the US. The program is always first a meeting with the prime minister, then a meeting with the foreign secretary, sometimes almost also the foreign secretaries from the Faroe Islands, local government, and the Greenland local government. Then a visit to the Queen, having a cup of coffee with the Queen and the Crown Prince, and then some kind of program with meetings with the Danish enterprises like Ørsted or Vestas or Novo or Maersk or whoever wants to try to sell products from Denmark to the United States. But it's always the same program, and the basic what would you call it, atmosphere of the visits is always to demonstrate to your politicians, whether it's Pompeo or it's Antony Blinken, that Denmark is a loyal ally, and we emphasize the good relationships, whether it's be a Trump administration or a Biden administration. However, behind that, and now I come to the differences, behind that, of course, is a Danish worry that the United States is still engaged in the world in solving the global issues. And even though the rhetoric at the meetings is very positive, they were when Pompeo was here, they certainly were when Blinken was here just last week. You shouldn't doubt that both for the Danish government and for the Danish population, the fact that the US policy with the change of administration has changed from one of putting doubt in the US commitment and engagement in NATO, the commitment to the climate agenda, commitment to solving the problems with nuclear weapons in Iran, that this, seen from the Danish point of view, has been very problematic. And the fact that there has been a change from a Trump administration that has sort of withdrawn from the global responsibility of the major power in the world, the US, to a Biden administration that has signaled that we will re-engage in the global agenda. We do support and we stand by our engagement and responsibility within NATO. We joined the climate agreement in Paris. We will renegotiate the nuclear deal with Iran. That is something that's extremely welcomed, both by the Danish government, although the rhetoric doesn't make this distinction, and by the Danish population. If you look at the two foreign secretaries, Pompeo and Blinken, my personal reflection is that Pompeo, to me, seemed to be a real politician, a shrewd politician, and defending the Trump administration's policy, whereas Blinken, to me, appears to be 100% a diplomat, a professional diplomat. And to exemplify that, I can mention that at the press conference when Blinken was here last week, he was asked about something that concerned internal US politics. And he, with a smile, he's very soft-spoken, a trained diplomat, he answered that he was not in politics, he was in foreign policy. So he made the distinction between political issues and foreign policy. And then he went on to reiterate the commitment of the United States to the global problems and to the global agenda. And I think that really distinguished him from the impression you got when Pompeo was here. So I think I will end by saying that seen from the Danish perspective, it's extremely positive that we now have not only a U.S. administration that is changing policy that's more or less isolationist, but sort of re-entering the global arena with all the power and all the possibilities of contributing to solving some of the major problems that we all face in the world, not only as we just heard about the relationship to China, but also the relationship to Russia, which is very important to Denmark, and certainly which is on the highest item on the Danish political agenda, the climate challenges. So that's very welcome. So I think I'll stop by this and answer whatever questions you might have.
Thank you, Bo. That was really fascinating. Question for you. There's a lot of press coverage in this country about the continuing threat of right-wing extremists to our democratic system in this country. To what extent do the people of Denmark or your government pay attention to that, or are they concerned? Or just say it. What's your sense of that?
Well, I think that in Denmark, the interest in what's going on in your country is very high. And the coverage in Danish media about what's happening in the US, I think the development towards polarization, what's happening to the relationship between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, your ability to work together in Congress and reach solutions. I think it wasn't Churchill who said that the United States always reaches the right solutions after having tried everything else. And I think if you ask Danes, they're worried about what's happening in your country. They're worried about the confrontation, the polarization, the ability by your political system that has worked well for several hundred years to face and solve some of the challenges that you have in your country and that we have in the world. And I might add that personally, and this reflects, it goes back to my time at Exeter, I've always seen the United States, and I think many, not only Danes, but everywhere in the world, has seen the United States as sort of a beacon, a country from which you could get inspiration if your ideal was a working democracy. And I think that many people, myself included, are worried about what's happening in your country. And this is covered extensively in Danish media. I can tell you that in the fall up to the election in the United States, there were every night on Danish state television, there was an hour on American politics. So this is followed closely. And we're waiting to see whether you can get back to what I would call the political system that you have had for many, many years. and that has been able to solve all the. Your country is one with a lot of internal, what do you call it, conflicts or problems, and you must have a political system that can address these issues. I must tell you that Copenhagen is competitive when it comes to life quality. So
Excellent.
you're certainly welcome. And if you contact me coming to Copenhagen, I will show you some of the wonders of Denmark, including, just to add that, including that on the roof of a waste plant, we have built a ski slope, so you can actually ski all year round in Denmark on the roof of a waste treatment plant.
That's fabulous and very, very Danish. And be careful what you wish for. We might just all come. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I've been there
Okay.
many times, Bo. It's a wonderful place.
Yeah, great.